All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today is Monday, February 26th, 2018. We only have 2 bell ringers this week since it is a 4-day week. There's some activities going on throughout the middle of the week, Tuesday and Wednesday, that we won't need bell ringers for. But this bell ringer today puts you in FDR's chair on December 8th, 1941, the day after Pearl Harbor, and I ask, what are your 3 most important goals as president that must be met to prepare the country for war? So there's different goals that you would want to set. I believe in each class they came up with like 6 or 7 pretty good goals that need to be met. But I asked you to try to dwindle it down to 3. What do you think is the most important? And that's kind of what we're looking at here. All right. So if you have an answer for that, you can put that on a regular piece of paper. I'll give you a bell ring when you get to class next time you're here, and you can copy that answer over if you want to get credit for that. All right. But that's the bell ring for today. Now, what we have to look at moving forward now is how FDR trying to get the country ready for war has to motivate the American people. Obviously, you want to get soldiers, you want to get the economy ready, you want to get military built, the supplies built up, you want to get weapons made. But the first thing you have to motivate the American people. So before Pearl Harbor, even before Pearl Harbor was even in existence, FDR knew that this war was inevitable. However, he did not tell the American people that because he didn't want them freaking out about it. So what he did was he put a really clever artistic campaign together, propaganda campaign, to get people in the mood to possibly serve their country at the time came to it, to help protect their country, that there are freedoms, there are issues that come in hand. Well, first thing he needs to do is get an army together, at least to build the soldiers up. Well, he decides to institute a peacetime draft and also asks for soldiers to enlist themselves. Using propaganda that you see on this screen right here, you can see that the soldier, surrounded by women of the USL, gives that perspective that, ladies love a man in a uniform. That worked for a lot of soldiers to get them involved, that if you give this aura that if you join the military, you get a uniform, and the ladies will come, not I'll say flocking towards you, but they'll enjoy being in your company because of the uniform. So, and that was something that drove a lot of men to go in the military. Not all men that fought in World War II. A lot of them were drafted after Pearl Harbor, but a lot of soldiers, FDR tries his best to get as many people as possible involved in the possibilities of going to war. So that's kind of what we're looking at here prior to Pearl Harbor. Now, FDR also gives a speech throughout this time. It's called his For Freedom speech. Now, the painter Norman Rockwell also comes up with images and posters that get plastered all across the country, almost every street corner. You see these images all over the place, and he visualizes these 4 freedoms in each of these posters. All right. The first one is going to be freedom of speech. As you can see here, some of these are images you might have seen before or anything like that. The second one is freedom of worship. To let people worship in any way they need to. We have these freedoms in America, and we don't want to lose these freedoms. That's something that's very important to Americans at this point. So, and then you have 2 other freedoms: the freedom from want, and then the freedom from fear. Each of these freedoms are goals that Americans, hold dear. These are things that Americans want to treasure. This freedom from want, freedom from fear, freedom of speech, and freedom of worship. Because if we treasure these things, then we value them. And then if we ever get involved in, or ever see a country that sees taking those freedoms away, then that's something that we would want to fight against. And this is FDR's goal all along, is to get Americans in the right mental mindset, not when we join the war, but as we do declare war after Pearl Harbor. Now Americans are all on the same page, and we're saying, okay, Germany and Japan are the 2 countries we want to focus on and to eliminate because they are a threat to our freedom from want, our freedom from fear, and our freedom of speech, and our freedom of worship. So, in Americans, these images hit home for a lot of Americans here at this point because they all have the idea that there's something to treasure here that we do not want to lose. All right. Now, after Pearl Harbor, motivation for the Americans is pretty simple. Japanese, you don't like the Japanese because of the attack on Pearl Harbor, but at the same time, you have to find ways to create some distaste for the Nazis in some way, which many Americans didn't know what Nazism was about. They heard of Hitler, they knew of him, they've heard of his book, Mein Kampf, but they haven't really understood what the Nazis were all about. So FDR inquires the help of one Walt Disney. Walt Disney comes forward and he's able to get some cartoons together, and he's able to formulate a propaganda video for individuals to help them find out what Nazism is all about. Now, this video is on my Canvas page. It is about 10 minutes long, and it gives you an idea of what Nazism is like. Now, don't get me wrong. This video is not about Nazis. It's not about trying to promote people to Nazism. It's about telling you what Nazism is about, at least our best understanding of it, and it's produced in a way to help us become haters of Nazism, people that don't want to, partake in it, and people that don't want to include that in our lives. That's what this is all about. So you'll see some humorous stuff about it. There's some satire that makes fun of Hitler throughout this film, just like Disney would do. Disney's a very comedic sort of a cartoon agency at this point, and it still is, and it continues to be. But at the same time, it is also to educate Americans of what kind of children and teens that the Nazis are trying to raise as pretty much soldiers to die for the Führer, Hitler. All right. So we get to this video, and then we also find out that as a result of these videos, and after Pearl Harbor, many people lined up to serve, whether it's through the propaganda, whether it's through their message of the Japanese attacking Pearl Harbor, whatever it might have been, they lined up, and we get in total 16 million soldiers, or GIs. The GI stands for government issue, before the war. So that's all we got to today. We did some current events after we did the bell ringer, but tomorrow when we get to class, definitely you'll want to be here for the primary source overview at this point. So do your best to come to class tomorrow and also Wednesday. But if you weren't here, we'll get you caught up regardless. There will be no video on Tuesday or Wednesday because you'll be reviewing the primary sources essentially throughout the entire day. Okay. So everyone have a fantastic day. I will talk to you later.